everyone. How are you doing? I hope you're having a great day. Happy Friday. Hope you have lots of fun happening this weekend. I hope you have lots of plans, unlike me who have none. I'm just gonna be winging it this weekend, and so, anyways, hope you guys can have a lot of fun, whatever it is you're doing. Hope you're, excited for the weekend and everything. So, anyway, welcome to Facts and Two Cents. As you know, we are a channel that's supposed to do Duchess of Sussex, Harry, Meghan, Archie, Baby Lily, Mama Doria, Poola Guy, the chickens, all of us here at Sussex Squad. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So, what is happening in the world of our faves? Not a whole lot. I mean, there's stuff happening around them, but our faves have been pretty much under a tree, hanging out under a tree. So we like it that way for them. So yes, just stay under your tree, doing whatever you're doing. We just like it that way. But anyways, it's so funny. I love this picture. Oh, this is us, when they were in New York. During the Vax Live concert here in New York, and it was really, really wonderful. As we all remember, we only expected them for the concert, but then they were here for 3 days doing fun stuff around New York, meeting schools, meeting the mayor, the governor, and meeting UN team, talking about vaccine equity and all of those wonderful things that was happening in New York a couple of years ago. So gosh, it's been a couple of years already. And so, boy, so much has happened since then. But anyways, so again, our faves are under a tree, relaxing, doing whatever they're doing in California. And so we just like to keep them and leave them right there. So, but other than that, fun stuff is happening. Today is the Diana Awards, and it's so funny. Someone mentioned it yesterday, and they were actually saying, "I hope it was just Harry doing it this year." Turns out it's both of them, but everyone has been focused, of course, on Harry. Of course, it's all about Prince Harry. And look, Archwell update their website. I always get excited when I see something new from Archwell because it's so rare that they update it, and so sometimes they do stuff and then they forget, and then a week or so later, like, oh yeah, we did this. Let's put it on the website. But I celebrate whenever they remember, so they updated their site today because obviously today is the Diana Awards. And of course, Prince Harry was a part of it. Yes. So very exciting. And, so they, I'm just going to read the little blurb that they put there about it. And what it is that Harry was in LA meeting with the Diana Awards team. I don't think they've ever had it outside of the UK before. I could be wrong, but so it seems the whole team, the Diana Awards team, they were in LA earlier this month, and around, I think they filmed it around the 15th. So right when all that mess was happening, with Spotify and all this mess happening the last few days, the last week or week and a half or so, this is what they were doing. And so it's funny because the more I think about it, I was like, you know what? We don't need to be worrying about Harry and Meghan. They are doing what it is they need to do. They are focusing on their mission and their goals. That's why, I feel like they don't even bother to respond to a lot of this stuff. They'll put out, maybe a 2-word, 3-word sentence, 3-sentence statement, and that's it. And they just focus on their stuff. And so I love this. That right in the middle of all that mess is when Harry, looking all fresh and moisturized, tanned, fresh and moisturized, I should say, as tanned as a redhead could get, fresh and moisturized, hanging out with the youth in LA and the Diana Awards team. And it's just so exciting. I mean, he just looks so happy and relaxed, and he's like, welcome to my home. Welcome to LA. I just absolutely love it. I absolutely love it. So I'm just going to move my little banner. Again, if you're new here and you haven't subscribed to our channel, go ahead and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you know when we drop a video. Please like and share the video. And also you can join our 2 Cents crew. That would be quite awesome as well. So I was going to read Archwell's little blurb on it. Says today, the Diana Award recognizes recognized over 180 exceptional young leaders who are transforming their communities and drive positive change. Founded in honor of Diana, Princess of Wales, the award recognizes youth aged 9 to 25 years old for their social action or humanitarian work, continuing the legacy of her belief that young people have the power to change the world. This year, Diana Award recognized changemakers from 31 different countries, all united in the collective effort to create a more equitable and inclusive world. And, more of the articles, I'll put the link there. You can go read the rest of it. The blurb that Archwell put out, and it talks, a little bit about, Harry meeting the different change makers at the LA event and presenting award to I think 4 of them, and also spending time with V. V, as you remember, she was one of the young leaders that were. She's actually done several of events with them, and she was at the One Young World event with Harry and Meghan, and she is a wonderful. She, I think she graduated Harvard. I want to say she graduated Harvard with what's her name from Afghanistan. Oh goodness, she's the young lady that was shot, and she's all about education, and that's her advocacy. And now Malayla, hello, she is one of she and Malayla are actually besties, and so they graduated together at Harvard. And so V has been, she's a speaker, a motivational speaker. She's an education's advocate for and so she's been doing all of these wonderful things. The incredible young lady. She's probably just about 20, if that much, if that old. But yeah, so it's really wonderful to see the incredible work that these young men and women do. And so I will put a link in the show notes so you can go and check out all 31 of them, and just familiarize yourself with them. It's really, really inspiring, the things that they are doing to change the world in their very young age. Awesome. And this is Prince Harry and V. V is so cute. Look at that huge smile. I'm telling you, I love my African brothers and sisters. They are just joy personified. And I mean, look at that. Her face is just joy. And Harry's over here looking all moisturized and happy and relaxed. And I was just like, we just don't have to worry about these two. I mean, life happens, whatever happens, but they are focused on their work. They're doing their stuff, and they're not paying attention to the nonsense. And so Diana Ward, tweeted a little bit about, what Prince Harry said. I'm also going to I actually put link in our community page for just clips of the event with Harry, clip of him. He did a little speech with V. They did it together, and then just there was just some clips of BTS footage of him meeting the different recipients there, and them just being in this like conference, just really talking and exchanging great ideas and stuff like that. We don't get to hear what they were saying, but you can tell from the BTS footage that's what that was. And it's just like a round table thing that they did in LA. So it's very exciting to see, like they came over and they did it. I mean, guys, this is why people get attached to Prince Harry, because whatever he does is substantive, as opposed to, yeah, sure, during the pandemic, then there was just, giving a speech and all of that stuff. But it's like now, it's just like, come to California, let's do this, let's, you know what I mean? And it's just like, I love this, and Tessie Ojo, came over there too. So it seemed like the Diana Awards team ventured off to California to hang with Prince Harry. So it's great. And so this is some of what the Diana Award said from Prince Harry. Says, as we come together, I am reminded of the profound belief my mother held in the transformative power of young people. She recognized their unique ability to challenge the status quo and to push for a more inclusive and passionate society. And so it's just really, I was like, Wait, I think I missed something. Did I miss something? No, I guess I didn't. I thought there was more. I think maybe I somehow may have deleted one of my pages. I hope not. But anyways, if I find it, we'll chat. I thought there was a little bit more that I had for Harry's speech, but I may have deleted it. Either way, it is in the links that I put in our community page, and also I will put it in the show notes here, so you can actually hear from him yourself. And so V actually tweeted about it as well. I just love her smile. I mean, she's just grinning from ear to ear. I love it. So she says, a dream team. I think it's Kativu. Uh, v Kativu times Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, together championing and celebrating youth advocacy. I am so excited to share that I'm co-hosting the 2023 Diana Awards with Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex. And she also tweeted, it's such a dream to be able to do this with him. He is one of the sweetest people, and I am truly so excited for you all to watch this magical ceremony. We did a great job, if I say so myself. You better say so yourself, girl. You did. I mean, so wonderful. I mean, oh my goodness. And there was just such love between them. I mean, again, it's kind of, I feel like Harry and Meghan, probably with the youth that they were working with the Commonwealth, the Queen's Commonwealth Trust, when they were president and vice president of it, it's kind of like you're raising these kids, and to see them graduate in college and now on their own and are changing the world and are going all over the world. And it's just like, oh my gosh, it must be so, I always just look so proud. Of, it's kind of like you're raising kids, and it's one of those things, Harry has a little girl, and so I can imagine him in, seeing V and how she is grown up and thinking like, wow, that's what I want little Lily to be, when she's growing up. What a great role model to have as someone like V, so I just think it's so wonderful. And this is Tessie in the pink there, and Harry. They were part of the round table discussion that was part of the event as well. So it's just like, again, Tessie and brought her team over to LA. And it's funny because V tweeted, as I follow her on Twitter, she tweeted this earlier in the month. And I think it was like the 13th or the 14th of June. She tweeted this. She's like, I'm getting flown out to Los Angeles on a top secret work mission, and I can't believe it. What is my life? And she's all excited. Yeah, she's with her bags, getting off to California. And so so she tweeted that, I think it was like the 13th, 12th, 13th, around there. And then they filmed this, I think either the 15th or the 16th. Again, right smack in the middle of that Spotify debacle. And so I love this. I absolutely love this. And when the world, or the tabloid world, or the nonsense royal world are doing their nonsense, Harry and Meghan are having this incredible impact on these young people. And when you're around them, they're not focused on that nonsense. They're focused on changing the world. And so I love their focus on this. And it's like, people are like, well, why aren't they defending themselves? It's like, they don't have to. They, it's good. There comes a point where it's like, look, people could believe whatever they want to believe. We are not going to take our focus off of what we are going to do. And so, when you think back in terms of, that's saying, who was it that saying? Was it Maya Angelou that said, or I always forget who it is. I think it's, maybe I'm crediting her and it's not her, that says, the very, I think it says I'm paraphrasing that, the very purpose of racism is distraction. Correct me if I'm wrong. It may not be Maya Angelou. I'm crediting her. I don't think it's her. But basically the very purpose of racism, the reason why people throw that stuff out at you, especially say Meghan, is to distract and to keep her eyes on, to get her eyes off of what she wants to do and her eyes on whatever they are throwing at her. And so I just love the fact that they're focused on their mission, and they're not being, distracted by the nonsense. So this is just also very inspiring. This is where I put it totally out of order. This is a little bit more of Prince Harry's speech. I thought I deleted it. I guess I somehow put it in the wrong order. So this is a little bit more about what Prince Harry said. He says, her legacy continues to inspire and serve as an example of how to navigate the complexities of our world. So many of the numerous challenges that we face disproportionately affects young people. Whether it's climate change, mental health, or systemic injustices, the obstacles can sometimes seem overwhelming. But what gives me hope is the collective power that we possess when we work together, the strength in the diversity of voices and perspectives that encompass it. Prince Harry, Duke of Sussex. And so Diana was tweeted this out today, as you can see. So it's just really, just looking at pictures of Princess Diana, just her legacy, of advocacy, philanthropy, all the things that she was a part of, and and just giving her life to service is just so inspirational. I'm so happy to see this young generation just so motivated by her and are following that example, and examples of, their heroes in their countries as well. Not just Diana, even though this is a Diana award, but I'm sure they also have other heroes as well that really inspire them to do the things they're doing for their people in their country. So it is just really inspiring to see what the young people, again, they're going to be leading our world. So we have to build them up, very much excited. And again, this excites me because, next week I start teaching again. I'm going to be started teaching 13 and 14-year-olds. So this is very inspiring to, maybe I could share some of this with them so they can be inspired. That just gave me a great idea. The things that pop into my mind in the middle of doing things, I think this would be a great idea because, again, a lot of these kids are around their age, to share this so that they can see what young people around the world are doing and how they're inspiring, their whole community and inspiring their whole country, and they're getting these awards and also being recognized for it internationally. So this is really, really, really amazing. So congratulations to all the young, all the young people receiving these awards. So yes, awesome Diana Awards. So moving on to something completely different. This popped up today, and I was very, one of the things that's so funny as I was reading this, I was like, last year I was really very much down on President Ramaphosa, who is the president of South Africa. And because of, reasons why I was really on his case was because he was basically, lack of a better word, cooning a bit in the UK. Being the grinning African president, grinning at a state dinner with Prince Charles when, a couple of weeks earlier when he came for the Queen's funeral, King Charles packed him off in a bus to go to the funeral with a bunch of other leaders from Africa and other places. And of course, the important leaders like the American President Joe Biden, they got to bring their cars and all of that stuff. But all these leaders, these other leaders, especially those of from Africa, got packed in a bus like school children. And so I am still bitter about that, as you can tell. And then 2 weeks later, President Ramaphosa comes back to the UK, being treated like, and they decided to throw open the red carpet, treating him like he is the greatest thing since sliced bread. And he's sitting there grinning with Charles. And I was very much down on him because, again, he went there and you think of all the things that the British are stolen from South Africa, and he's not asking for it. And then he's just sitting there and it's just like, dude, what are you doing? So I was not very happy with him. But, we're not one-dimensional. We do have our weaknesses and we do have our strengths. And so I saw this popped up today and I was like, okay, maybe I can, take him out of the doghouse for a minute. And I was very happy to see him speak up for this because this is very important. And the People's Vaccine tweeted about this, and apparently there is, I guess, a conference going on, a world conference going on, and so President Ramaphosa spoke about the effects of COVID on South Africans and the effects of Africans not being able to get vaccines, even to the point of begging, wealthier countries like the US, like the UK. I hope he remembers that next time he go to the UK and, not be kissing up to Charles. So the UK and all these other big countries that refused to really give or, vaccine to African countries or developing countries, not just African countries, but developing countries like India and all of these things that were severely lacking in vaccines to save their people, begging for vaccines, and they wouldn't share. And it's like, okay, if you wouldn't give us your vaccine, okay, then give us the recipe. Let us make it so we can, we can save the lives of our people. They refused. The pharmaceutical companies refused to do it. And so it became this huge thing. And, we'll get to the people advocating for that in a second. But it was just really, really despicable. And especially, say, in the US, and I think in the UK, this was happening as well, so many, probably in the millions of vaccines just sort of sat there and went to waste, because we have half of America, the MAGA set, who refused to be vaccinated. So a lot of them expired and they had to just toss them. And there are people in developing countries who had nothing and they could not, there's people that died that could have been vaccinated and saved, but they didn't have it, And because wealthy countries like the US, like the UK, etc., and I think France, you could stick France in there and as well, and others who would not. I mean, the UK gave some, the US gave some, but definitely not as much as it could have been given. Because again, millions of these, and I think it's in the millions of these vaccines, just literally expired and they had to throw them out, when there are people in developing countries who could have used that vaccine. And so, and not only that, is that then the pharmaceutical companies refuse to share the recipe so that way these countries can make the vaccine to save their people. So this is some of what Cyril Ramaphosa, President Ramaphosa, said to the room, and there were delegates there from, I guess, around the world. And this is what he says, what People Vaccine says about it. It says, powerful address from South Africa's at Cyril Ramaphosa to a room of world leaders on the resentment felt by Africans at having to beg for COVID-19 vaccines and then being blocked from manufacturing vaccines on the continent. Rich countries disregarded global solidarity, hoarding vaccine supplies, siding with pharmaceutical companies' monopolies, and acting in a manner the UNGC Guterres deemed an obscenity. We passed the science test. We are getting an F in ethics. They blocked the adoption of comprehensive TRIPS waiver on intellectual property rights, despite the UN special rapporteur on contemporary forms of racism saying that this would run counter to the fundamental human rights principle of racial equality and non-discrimination. And this injustice isn't just in the past. Life-saving COVID-19 vaccine medicines remain unattainable for people in many developing countries. Governments must reach a deal with the WTO, which is the World Trade Organization, that addresses intellectual property rules and prioritizes lives over pharma profits. And I know a lot of people, because COVID has definitely gone down drastically in the US. So a lot of people think, COVID is gone. COVID is not gone. Even in the US, people are still dying of COVID. They're not reporting it anymore because it's not, the news cycle is not, picking it up anymore. Because again, I'm in New York. We were ground central where we had, when COVID was in its height, we had 800-900 people dying a day. Now, maybe a few, maybe like 10, 12, whatever, but that's still people dying. Even if it's one, that's still a person died, that's still a family that doesn't have their loved one. So even one is too much. And that's what he's saying. Even today, they're still hoarding this. You know, they're developing countries that people, I guess, are dying at a more rapid rate. They still don't have this. And this is so inhumane and so unethical, you know. And so he was basically voicing his resentment. And I don't blame him. I don't blame him at all for being resentful at and they come together in these conferences and whatever, and they bond together. But yeah, when African countries need help and they have to sit there and beg. They have to sit there and beg. And even when, even when they wouldn't give it, they're like, fine, we will make it. We'll just tell us what the recipe is. We will make it for our people to save our people's life. They refused. They kept the rights to it so that all the profits could be theirs. And so that's what he's talking about. It's got to be where, you prioritize lives over the profits of these pharmaceutical companies. Now, I appreciate the pharmaceutical companies, making the drug, but it's like, seriously, why wouldn't you give it to a country so that they could save their people's lives? And again, this is where profits become over saving lives, and especially if it's lives of Black and brown people, which obviously is the case here, because America was able to get their thing. All of these MAGA people, which are mostly white, we had vaccine for them, even though they rejected it, and then it all went, expired and had to be thrown out because they refused, and tons of them died unnecessarily because they refused to take it. But again, if it was, if say the African continent was majority white, they would have figured out a way to get that vaccine to them or give them something. But the life of Black and brown people it doesn't figure into their equation. It's like we are expendable, so it is just really sickening. And the People's Vaccine continue tweeting. This says, for every one vaccine administered in a low income country, 117 were given in high income countries like the US or the UK. And the source, they put the source World in Data. It's rampant vaccine inequity. It's rampant vaccine inequity, inequality, sorry. Our world cannot afford. Everyone deserves protection from COVID-19, not just the richest. We need a people's vaccine, which is what I thought it was. The people's vaccine is what is not the pharmaceutical companies, because they thought, which is what when Harry, we'll get to Harry in a second, but when Harry was speaking in New York, that was one of the things. The vaccine was paid for by taxpayer money. So I don't understand how it is that, we don't get to say, as opposed to the pharmaceutical companies get to say who owns the rights to the recipe for the vaccines. But again, the inequality it's stark. I mean, look at for every one person in a developing country, 117 in a rich country. That is crazy. We don't, the value, there's like literally no value on the life of especially Black and brown countries, or countries that are predominantly Black and brown. It's amazing. And one of the things, all of those came back to me because I remember, in 2021, just Harry and Meghan's push for vaccine equity, push to get, literally in letters, going to Vax Live event in LA, in New York. They teamed up with the WTO, wrote to the G20 summit, the leaders at the G20 summit, begging them to get to make available vaccines for developing countries. And this was back in 2021. It's like Meghan Markle and Prince Harry write open letter to G20 summit leaders calling out vaccine inequity. Meghan Markle and Prince Harry are partnered with the WTO Director General, Dr. Tedros Adhanom I never know how to say his last name, to address the leaders at the G20 summit over the lack of access to COVID-19 vaccine in low-income countries ahead of a meeting in Rome this weekend, which will be first in-person G20 summit since the pandemic. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex published an open letter to the WTO website. This stated of the almost 7 billion doses that has been administered globally, only just 3% of the people in low-income countries have had a jab so far. Where are the rest? Because they had promised they would do it and they never did it. And so Harry and Meghan, and the WTO, the Director General of the WTO, and others, leaders around the world joining with Harry and Meghan, they published it. I was like, where are the rest of the vaccine? You said you were going to send. There's only a little bit they sent. Again, that one person to 117. Yeah. And they're like, where is it? People are dying, and then we remember this, this is Harry at the Global Citizens concert in LA, which was the first concert after, during the pandemic, coming to the sort of the end of the pandemic, where vaccines were there, and they had a whole stadium full of medical people, like nurses, doctors, and stuff in LA for, all vaccinated, for the Global Citizens Concerts, raising funds for vaccine equity so that they can buy vaccines and send it to developing countries. And so this is CNN World reporting. It says the Duke, Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, and Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, has called for donations in support of COVID-19 equity throughout the world in honor of their son's Archie's birthday. And that's right, we remember this. There was Archie's birthday, and they used his birthday as a fundraiser to raise funds for vaccine equity. It says the couple said a number of organizations would match every $5 donation with $15. Which would cover the cost of 4 doses of vaccine, of COVID-19 vaccines, according to a statement on the website of their charitable organization, Archwell. While some people are on the verge of healing in so many parts of the world, communities continue to suffer. And as of today, around 80% of the nearly 1 billion COVID-19 vaccine shots that have been given were administered to wealthier countries. While we may feel the normalcy around the corner, we remind ourselves that in much of the world, and especially developing countries, vaccine distribution has effectively yet to start, their statement said on Thursday. Their statement on Thursday read. And so, Harry was at the concert, and then Archie's birthday, and it was great. They did, and this was Global Citizen writing up about this, and it says global fundraiser effort led by Prince Harry and Meghan drives 1.9 million for COVID-19 vaccine in 6 days. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex are working to ensure everyone everywhere have access to vaccine. The initiative, launched on May 6th in honor of the second birthday of their son Archie, has raised more than 444,000 in individual donations to Gavi vaccine, which is co-leading the effort known as COVAX to get COVID-19 vaccine to people in low-income countries who would otherwise be last in line to receive them. MasterCard, Impact Fund, the Sea Dream Family Foundation, and Public Charity all agreed to match donations dollar for dollar up to 1 million each, turning every dollar donated into $4. A second matching program led by Visa and Citibank also mobilized additional funds towards 1.8 million total so far. And I think at the end they end up raising, I think it was $3 million for, in honor of Archie. I tell you, Archie's birthday, when Archie's birthday comes around, and now Lilibet, is like so many people benefit and so many people are blessed by these kids' birthdays. It's not funny. But so Meghan, they personally did that for Archie's birthday, and it was just wonderful. So we all donated and all of that wonderful stuff. They ended up with like $3 million dollars raised for vaccine equity. And not only did they do that, They did, as we remember, they came to New York, that wonderful weekend where we didn't know, we thought they were just coming in for the concert, and they were here for 3 days, hanging out with, again, as I said earlier, they were hanging out with the governor, the mayor. They were also at the downtown. They were also hanging out when schools here, where they donated supplies to schools, and they donated Kindles to kids to read. And they also met with the WHO at the UN. They also met with Chelsea Clinton and a whole team. I think also the Rockefeller Foundation was there, all of them advocating for vaccine equity. So this was the picture on the right is one they were meeting at the round table at the UN. And also this is Ambassador Linda Green. They met with her as well. The ambassador also was joined them at the concert. They were on stage together. They introduced her actually, and they both spoke, and then they spoke, and then she spoke at the Vax Live concert later on that evening. And so this is Global Citizen reporting about that concert and what they were able to do and how much they were able to raise with all of all the I guess sort of like a combination of the drive that they were doing to raise as much money as possible, or with the concert in LA, the one in New York, to basically buy vaccines for developing countries. And so Global Citizen says, Vax Live helped mobilize 302 million and more than 26 million COVID-19 vaccine doses for world's most vulnerable. Dollars and doses pledged through Vax Live will support an equitable access to vaccines. And a little further down the article, it says, hosted, so they're talking about the campaign to raise all this money, 302 million. It says and also the concert to unite the world. It says hosted the campaign hosted by multi-platinum artist, or at least the Vax Live event in LA. It was hosted by multi-platinum artist and actress and producer Selena Gomez, and featuring Vax Live campaign chairs. That's right, the chair people for this, who be able to raise that 302 million. The chair people featuring Vax Live campaign chairs, Prince Harry and Meghan, Duke and Duchess of Sussex. The event saw more than 20,000 fully vaccinated health workers and first responders come together upon live taping of Vax Live, the concert to reunite the world on May 2nd at the SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California, to unite the end of COVID-19 pandemic and celebrate a hopeful future. And I'm just realizing I got my photos mixed up here. I should have put Harry's Vax Global Citizens photos here for this, because this happened May 2nd in LA, and put these pictures where Harry's pictures are. So just think in your mind, okay, just flip it for me in your mind, where Harry's photo, because when he was on stage with the Global Citizen thing, that was this event in LA, and these photos belong in the other one. I don't know what's wrong with me. It's the end of the week. Thing. But it's an incredible, all of it come together, you know what I mean? All of it, because all of it is raising funds, and all of it was raising funds for the vaccine for developing countries. And again, they, with campaign chairs, Harry and Meghan, they raised $302 million and more than 26 million COVID-19 vaccine doses for the world's most vulnerable. And I just think it is absolutely, you can't get better than this, right? It just, and so when, which was so ridiculous when all the stuff started happening last week, where they're like, Harry and Meghan are lazy and they're doing all this stuff. What have they done? They're in California. What have they done? They haven't done anything. And it's just like, it's so easy to forget this stuff like this. It is so easy to forget that Harry and Meghan weren't just sitting in California. And again, Meghan did all of this stuff, the event in California, the event in LA, where only Harry went because Meghan was pregnant. Meghan was home pregnant, and she did a little video for the event, but Harry went there without her. And then she had not too long given birth, or actually a few months before they came to New York for this event. And so they for the event, the Vax Live event in New York. And so it is just like, when people are like, oh, what have they done, what have they done? And then, but when you go back, and again, I'm speaking, preaching to the choir here. Squatties wouldn't be thinking something that silly, because we know better than that. We know Harry and Meghan, and we know what they've been doing, and we know, their work. I mean, I literally have 2 podcasts dedicated to all the work that they have been doing. And so I couldn't even fit them on one video. I had to do 2. And so, and apart from that, apart from the work, whether it's Vax Live or Global Citizen, or doing stuff at Harvest Home LA, or just volunteering stuff, also with their regular stuff, with say Santa Bali, with Polo, doing Polo stuff for their community, and charities for the community. People like, oh, Harry's playing polo. Yeah, well, he's playing polo for a reason. It wasn't just playing polo for just to play polo's sake. They were donating stuff. It was benefiting community, charities in Santa Barbara. That's why they were doing it. And then you think about the stuff he did with Invicta. It's continued to do with Invictus and all of that stuff. And then all of the charities that they helped, with refugees from Afghanistan. It's overwhelming, or building the roof of a domestic violence shelter in Texas, or rebuild, or at least teaming up with Kaboom and building a park for the community in Uvalde, Texas. There's so many things that Harry and Meghan do. It is overwhelming. So that's why I could feel like, Harry and Meghan's like, at this point, they're like, you can think whatever you want to think. I'm not even going to respond, because you are not worthy of this stuff is not worthy of me responding. It's ridiculous. I mean, even just this little thing I just talked about, in all the work that they have done and the time advocating for vaccine equity, it's so much. It is not that, they just show up and somebody just give them 302 million. No, they have to be making phone calls, getting in touch with all these companies that are, have pledged or working with them. They couldn't just sit there, they had to pick up the phone, and apart from that, doing that, also working with Color for Change, with the misinformation and stuff with Facebook, and and it's so many things that they have done, so many things in such a short space of time, that is unbelievable. And so I'm going to do some of these more again. I try to do some more of these videos again, apart from the 2 that I already did, just in the trying to focus on one thing at a time, one charity or one organization they work with, so we can just kind of dive into it a little bit more like this. But it's so important in this, especially in this space where people want to just throw darts at them for no reason, is highlighting this work. I mean, because they are just doing their stuff. They're not here to, get attention for themselves or whatever. They just do their stuff, and whenever they feel like it, they're updated on their site. It's not a big deal for them. They're about the work. They're about the process. And so that's the thing that brings them joy, not people giving them fame because of it. And so I think that's why people just connect with them, because they are genuine about what the work that they're doing. And so that's why when I saw, President Cyril Ramaphosa just really, having a go at the world leaders. I mean, my thing was like, yeah, you have every right to feel resentful. I feel resentful for them, for what was done. You leave people there to die, and you're hoarding something that can literally save someone's life. And here is Harry and Meghan, the world, WTO. There are presidents and prime ministers, former presidents and prime ministers, and all of those people around the world who were part of these letters and pleading with the governments to share the vaccine or share the recipe so people could make it in their country and save their people, and they refused. And and the little bit that was sent is obviously not enough. And so when I saw stuff like that, and it really reminded me of the work Harry and Meghan did, apart from their productions, and it was wonderful, but the work they did, which desperately, to the point where it's almost like they were begging, pleading with people, where's the fact that you said you were going to send, you didn't do it, you know? And so I just, oh my goodness, we need to get to a place where we really, focus on people's lives, and above. I don't know when we're going to get there, because it feels like we're going the opposite direction, where we once cared about people's lives. And now it's like, I don't care. As long as I make money, I don't care what's going on with you, which is what was happening. So anyways, I just want to thank Harry and Meghan again for the incredible work they did, and all those millions of vaccine that they sent to these countries. It wasn't enough, obviously. They don't have enough to, but for the ones that it helped, thank you. Thank you, and thank you for advocating for so many who didn't, don't have a voice to speak for themselves. So, and thank you, President Cyril Ramaphosa, for speaking honestly about how you felt about it. And I hopefully you keep holding their feet to the fire and calling them out in these, and not be sucking up to them, not be going to England and grinning in, King Charles's face, but calling him out. Why wasn't he also advocating for you? Why aren't they concerned about your people? So I hope the other leaders, African leaders, and leaders in other developing countries who were shut out and who were, ignored in these times. And, even Barbados Prime Minister was also saying pretty similar, the same thing, a while ago. And so I hope that, Mia Mottley, Prime Minister Mia Mottley, Prime Minister of Barbados. So I hope that more and more people would speak out and not be afraid to challenge and really get in the faces of some of those leaders who, they want to exploit us, but then when we need help, they don't want to help. So there you go. Anyways, that's it on that. But thank you, Harry and Meghan. And finally, I saw this, and I was very happy to see this. This happened. There's someone on Twitter posted this, and it was a podcast on Twitter. And Sheila Fogarty, I think she has an LBC show, not a podcast, but an LBC show, and it was on here on YouTube, and it was about the Philip. What's his name? All of a sudden, like, I think it's kind of like. I think I'm like, sort of got him out of my mind. And I'm just like, all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, I really don't even want to think about this guy. But what's his name? Trevor Phillips. Anyways, we talked about Trevor Phillips as crazy, not crazy, but is just, again, cooning behavior, and especially when it's dealing with Meghan and his attitude, and also his narrative about her, doubting her experience, basically saying that, basically calling her a liar, like she did not experience racism. She did not, and basically, this is a man, again, that has never met Meghan, but he is basically trying to claim that, one, Meghan didn't experience racism, that she basically had to learn racism on the job. And I mean, all of these things, it's just like completely negating her experience, claiming that she didn't feel or experience what she experienced, but he knows what she experienced, and again, we talked about, I think our last episode about, I think it was last episode or one before, about him going on Piers Morgan's show and saying exactly that. And again, if you don't know anything about Trevor Phillips is a Black man, a Black Brit. He's a reporter, and he's done, either written or contributed to articles in pick a British tabloid. Plus, he's done. I think he's also with Sky News and the New York. I'm sorry, the UK Times and all of this. So he's written about. And he used to be like the head of a diversity group in the UK and all of that stuff. Very anti-racism person who has now switched. And it's completely the opposite, because Trevor Phillips realizes being anti-racist and being, advocating for Black equity and advocating against racism against his people is not giving him the stature that the status that he wants. It's not making him the money that he wants, and he wants that elevated position. And in order to do that, he now has to appease racist people in the UK. And that is where Trevor Phillips is right now. And so Trevor Phillips apparently has a book that's coming out. And how does Trevor Phillips want to maintain his status, want to make money? Well, Trevor Phillips decided he's going on Piers Morgan's show. And he's going on Piers Morgan's show to basically claim that Meghan did not experience racism. Again, she didn't experience it. She had to learn racism on the job, that she should have stayed in the UK and done, but she split it back off to America, and basically damaged the rest of the Black people, because how dare she not stay in the UK and be abused, because the UK is not racist. This is Trevor's narrative. And so one of the things that it's been very heartwarming and very, for me, because when I first heard it, I just had to turn out, because, what was it? November of last year, there are pictures popping up of Trevor Phillips receiving his knighthood from Prince William, him on his knees, I guess, and Prince William putting his thing there, and he's grinning about his knighthood. So now he's Sir Trevor Phillips, so of course we've talked about, influential Black British people getting those awards, and what happens? They will sell out their people with those awards. That's what it's there for. When the royal family needs people to claim they're not racist, these are the people they would go to. Trevor Phillips would be one of those. And so so he did that. And so that's a huge negative, but the thing that's been heartwarming though is the people that has been coming out against him, the people that have been calling him out left and right. I mean, I actually have not, other than fellow people, racist people in the UK, Black people have been speaking up and really speaking out about what he has done. And especially not only that, basically trying to negate what Meghan's experienced, but going on a show of a guy who has been abusing her for all these years, 5-6 years now, that Piers Morgan has been abusive towards Meghan, going on his show and basically trying to sell his book off of her back, with a man who has been abusive towards Meghan for 6 years. And so people have been calling him out left and right. And so for me, it's been very good to see that. And not only just, women, because, Dr. Shola would always call him out, and other women, but it's been so good to see men, Black men of standing, like, for example, Nels Abbey, I guess that's how he says his name. He's an author. He's an author of a book called Think Like a White Man. He was on this show with Sheila. She's on LBC, and it was so insightful. I'm going to put a link in our show notes so you can listen to it. It's on YouTube. And, he was talking about what he's like, Trevor Phillips was a man that he used to look up to and admire as a growing up. And he was talking about the Trevor Phillips back then, a man who stood up for his people and spoke out about racism, and what Trevor Phillips has become in his older age. And some of the things that he was saying about what Trevor Phillips did on that podcast, and not just that podcast, he's done it before against Meghan and others, claiming that, oh no, there's no racism in the UK and all of that stuff. And some of the things Nell said, it's like what Trevor Phillips was doing, especially specifically speaking of being on Piers Morgan's show. He said, as you can see my tweet there, I tried to grab a little bit of what he was saying. It says what he was doing was pandering to the racist element of society, of UK society. He was saying what he knew the audience wanted to hear, especially Piers Morgan, because apparently, reading something from The Voice, was a little bit like, pot calling the kettle black or whatever that saying is. But they were saying how Piers Morgan, when when Trevor Phillips was saying, right, Meghan, she didn't experience racism and all of that stuff, how gleeful Piers Morgan was when he was saying all of those things about Meghan. One of the things Nels also said, it says, it is true in Britain that no Black person ever went broke telling a racist person what they want to hear. And his point about that is people like Trevor Phillips, they know they will get rich if they do exactly what Trevor Phillips did. They decide to pander to racist people, tell them what they want. Oh, see, no, you're not racist. There's no racism here. No, that Black person is wrong. They didn't experience racism at all. There's no, Britain is not racist. Are you serious? It's not your fault. It's the Black person's fault. It's there pulling the race card, And he also went on to say, that's why what Trevor Phillips was doing. He was selling a book. He knew that's what the public, especially Piers Morgan, wanted to hear. So he said the thing that will give him keep him at the status that he wants to be, and he can make money off of it. Especially in terms of Meghan, where everybody and their brother seems to be, I want to be part of that billion-dollar industry that hates Meghan Markle. And that's what he was doing. And so I was very, very happy to hear, someone of standing, as this guy is an author, someone who has a voice other than poor Dr. Shola, who's been calling this stuff. And I was like, poor Dr. Shola needs a break. We need to have more people speaking out against people like Trevor Phillips and letting it be known that he does not speak for the Black community. And they do not approve about of what he's doing and what he's saying, and that he is basically just pandering to racist people so he can make money off of it and to have the stature that he has. If he calls out the royal family and call out racism and all of that stuff, you think he was going to get knighted? No, he was never going to get a knighthood. But because he is doing what he is doing, and he's been doing it for a few years now, he has figured out, if I go against my people, if I pretend, there is no racism, if I speak out against, situation like, say, Meghan's situation, I would be accepted. They would love me. I could make money off of it. I'm going to get, I'm going to get status. I'm going to, whatever. I'm going to get the little trinkets that the royal give, like the knighthood and all of that stuff. I will have those stuff. And for that stuff, I am willing to sell my people out. Can you imagine being in a member of this guy's family? I'm like, this man has kids. He has daughters, and the thing, it's just like unbelievable to me what that would be like to say that I am, a child of this man. It is beyond despicable. And it's not just him. There are quite a few of them that do the exact same thing. You find some of them in the it's like the Candace Owens of the UK. It's unbelievable. So for me, it's good to see. And I think this is what needs to happen. More and more men need to call them out. Because I'm telling you, Black women, we tired. We are tired. We're tired of having to push back like this. More and more men like Nels need to be calling out these guys. So for me, it was very, very, very good to see. So kudos to him that, and thank you, Sheila, for giving him space that he can, speak out about it. So yeah, it just, as you can see the bottom there, Meghan had to learn to be Black under job. I mean, hello. And not only that, I mean, this guy was misquoting Meghan all over the place. And I'm glad now, like, he knew about Meghan, and so he was speaking the truth about it. It's like, Meghan never, she has always claimed her Blackness. She's never not claimed, she's never not ever said she was, I mean, so he knew about her. He knew what she said, and so he was basically able to refute the stuff that Trevor Phillips was talking about. So I was really happy to see and hear someone who actually knew, what she said and knew how to refute some of that stuff. So thank you, Nels, for what you did. So turning a negative into, I don't want to say positive, but it was actually a great start to see that people are not sitting there and allowing people like Trevor Phillips to do the nonsense that he did. But anyway, that's it, guys. That's all I got. Thank you all so much. I'm going to post this. I won't be in the chat because I'll be working. But thank you to our moderators, Lydia, Church, Nelly, Karen M, Cookies and Cream. Thank you all so much for everything that you do to make our chat safe. Thank you to our Gold Star supporters and also to our wonderful 2 Cents crew who support the channel financially monthly. I appreciate you guys so, so, so very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I will see you all next time and have a fantastic day. Bye, everybody. See you.